A very warm and lovely welcome to Moments with Inonge. You are watching the motivational segment, and please feel free to participate by letting me know where you're watching from and also dropping your comments and contributions. Tonight on this motivational segment, I have something very interesting. We're looking at time management on a motivational level. So, what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at some quotes. We're going to be looking at some quotes by people that have gone ahead of us, have experienced one or two things, have learned one or two things, and have dropped quotes which we actually look at and they give us food for thought. So today our motivational segment is having a twist to it, and the twist is quotes, and we have wonderful people in the studio that will be coming to the screen, and we also have you guys that are watching who definitely are going to be dropping your comments and letting me know what you think about the quotes. So before we do that, allow me to share the theme for this month, which is management is our responsibility, and that's taken from the book of Proverbs 27 and 23. And then our schedule on Moments with Inonge is every Sunday we have the inspirational segment. Every Monday we have either the financial literacy segment or we have the motivational segment, which is this segment that you're watching. And then we also have the leadership segment every Tuesday at 7:45. I encourage you and I urge you to stay tuned absolutely all the way. It's going to be mind-blowing, and we have a very special guest for you. So going back to today's session, we are actually gonna be looking at some quotes. We're actually going to be looking at some quotes. We've got about like 7 quotes. And from these 7 quotes, you should be able to, just drop your comments and let me know what your opinion based on that quote is, what you think about it, what you understand about it, whether you agree with the quote or not. So we've got quite a number of people in the studio. So just before we go there, we have a comment from Precious, and Precious says, "Hello, mommy, how are you? I'm fine, baby girl. How are you doing? I hope and trust to listen to you as I read your comments and to learn from you also as you share your opinion on what you think about this." So I'm just going to add some people to the screen. I'm going to add Esther. I'm going to add Mariam. I'm going to add Chani to the screen, and they will be able to, just let me know what they think about a particular quote at some point in time. So guys, let us be as interactive as possible. We also have Christabel in the studio. So guys, I just want to welcome you. Esther, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Maria,
you.
you're welcome. Chani, you are welcome.
Thank you so much.
Christabel, you're welcome. Welcome, guys. And so just to get us going without taking much of our time, this is a food for thought motivational segment based on time management. So what we're going to be looking at is that quote, and this quote reads, "This time, like all times, is a very good one if we know what to do with it." It's on our screen. So if anybody feels like they have a comment on the screen, on the quote that is on the screen, please feel free to unmute yourself and talk about it. Or for those that are watching, please feel free to also just type what your thought is. So that's, "This time, like all times, is a very good one if we but know what to do with it. With it. So when I look at this quote, it's really food for thought. And I'm thinking to say, what is the person, what is the person trying to communicate? So before I go ahead with my views, I'll wait. If there's somebody that is going to drop a comment, or anybody in the studio, you can just unmute yourself and maybe pass a comment about what you think.
Good evening once again, Coach.
Good evening.
Yeah, so my thought over the motivation quote, I think it's trying to tell us that we have opportunities at all the time. We have opportunities, but how we take that opportunity is up to us.
That's true.
That's what I think. Yeah,
That's
if we but know what to do with it, time is there, but it's up to us to make an opportunity with the time that we have. We can choose to sleep, we can choose to make a difference, we can choose to plan our lives, make a difference in our lives, in short.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you. I really do agree with you. And at this point, I just want to let the viewers watching know that there is no wrong or right answer, because the way I see things and the way you see things may be maybe from different angles. So thank you so much for that contribution. Is there anybody else that would love to share? So we've got six more quotes. We've got six more quotes to go. So my take concerning this, uh, please go ahead.
Okay. Like what I'm getting from this quote is many a times we have great moments to get out of them and do something, uh, and also create something beautiful. So all that works with the time that we have. You can only do that thing this time, and like any other time you can do it, but you start with the time that you have at the moment.
I love that. I love that. Starting with the time that you have at the moment. You know what, ladies? You've said it all. I mean, there's nothing that I can actually say. You took my thoughts right out of my mouth. So I'm gonna give it a shot on the next one. So thank you, so much, guys that are watching. Please feel free to drop your comments. What we're doing is we'll look at the quote on the screen. And then you can drop your comment letting me know what you think about it. You can let us know through your comments. And we keep going just like that. So another comment, another quote that we have absolutely is, it's not enough to be busy. So are the ants. The question is, what are we busy about? Anybody in the studio can unmute themselves and let me know what you think about that quote. And for the viewers, I see we've got quite a number of viewers. Please drop your comments, type in your comments, guys. We are sharing wisdom on time management, wisdom that is coming from quotes, or back in the days of Jesus, we would call it from parables, or proverbs rather. I think I choose to say proverbs rather than parables because a parable is like a story.
I don't know if I can go and share my view.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. My thought over this quote, I feel I was even actually thinking about it today, where you sit in an office or you're so busy throughout the day, but you have nothing to answer for that busyness. There's nothing productive that you have done. So I feel this quote is just telling us we are busy, but what are we really doing? We need to be like the ants. The ants can get something, they can get the little, but build up something big. But if
Wow,
we are just not doing anything, we're just busy with our lives, but nothing to show for it. I think that's what I'm getting from here.
that's true. That's true. Anybody else to contribute? Thank you so much. Esther, was that Esther?
Mariam.
Mariam, okay. Thank you so much, Mariam, for that comment. Thank you, thank you. Anybody else to share their take?
Okay. For me, I would also say, like Mariam mentioned, many a times we're just busy throughout, and at the end of the day, you see there's no productivity at the end of it all. So it's more like we do things without a plan, and we just go around
Mm.
it like or we're just going around because we don't have a plan. And at the end of the day, you will not see what you've achieved because you haven't planned for it. So I feel that's what that quote means.
Thank you so much. Is that Christabel?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, thank you so much. So we have a comment. We have a comment from Favor, and uh, we have a comment from Favor, and sorry about that. Favor is actually saying we are busy of so many things just to see that we make it in life. So that is Favor's, perception of what that quote means. Favor, thank you so much for dropping that comment. Thank you so much for dropping that comment. And so, if there's anybody else in the studio as well, please feel free to mention it. Guys, please like
Okay,
and
hello.
podcast. Hey,
Okay, so this actually reminds me of I think a discussion we had on the practical table on was it Thursday last week?
yes,
Yes, the fact that we can be, it's about setting priorities and knowing what it is that we're doing and what that activity is adding to our goals and what we need to be doing. We can be busy doing everybody else's business, trying to make everyone else happy, putting everyone else before us. But if that is not adding anything to our goals and helping us get any closer to where we're supposed to be, then we're as good as doing nothing. Thank you.
that's true. That's true. Thank you so much, Esther. Thank you so much for sharing. What this reminds me of is also, a verse in the Bible that says, you go and learn from the ants. It was talking about a lazy person telling them to go and learn from the ants, because what the ants actually do is that when you see ants, guys, it's like they're always in a hurry. You never just see an ant just there, like lingering around or wandering around. They always seem to be in a hurry. And I think even for us, like most of the times our days are so busy. By the time you realize it, you look at the watch, it's like 17, it's 5 p.m., and the day is gone. But sometimes when you ask yourself to say, what is it that I was doing? You find that there is nothing that you were doing. So the thing is, this person is trying to tell us to say it's not enough to be busy. So are the ants. Meaning, the question is, what are you busy about? Meaning, ants are busy about moving that thing that they've carried, meaning they're busy about building, about storing food for winter time. But what are you busy, doing? So I guess that's my take, guys. I guess that's my take for this. And then can we move on to the next court, or maybe somebody else has got something else to say?
I don't know if I can add something, coach.
Sure, most definitely.
Yeah, I think what you said is actually it's very motivating because when you see ants, they are everywhere. And even though you drop a small inshima or even a crisp on the floor, by the time you realize they'll be able to carry it. But
Mm,
the way we normally would carry our days, we'll find we are lazing around, not making ourselves productive as the ants would. If we could do that, I think we would be somewhere else in life.
I'm telling you. And not to dwell so much on ants, but there is so much that we can learn on ants. I think one time I'm gonna share the concept of ants, at the practical table. When it comes to ants, the thing with ants is that they've got a sense of responsibility. They've got a sense of agency because you see, ants come out during summer, and
Yeah.
then when it's cold, you don't see them. You don't see them moving around. They come out during summer because they know that hardship, which is the winter season, is coming. So we need to work right now for our future. So when you see them busy, they know that time is running out. Summer is not always going to be there. So they have to work
Mhm.
hard, go get the things, store. And then when it becomes cold, they hide underground. So meaning them, they think futuristic, unlike us. So us, when we're busy doing whatever it is we're doing, the question, this quote is very provoking. It's asking us to say, what you're doing, is it just busy, 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 or you are actually thinking about the future? I think that's something that I would say. I don't know how you guys look at it, but that's my understanding about, one of the principles I've learned from the ant. I don't know. Anyone to say anything else, or we move?
We can move.
Okay, awesome. So our next quote is to think too long about doing a thing often becomes its undoing. Hmm. To think too long about doing a thing often becomes its undoing. What do you think about that?
If I can comment on this one, Coach.
Sure, go ahead.
There is something about when you have an idea, especially maybe let me maybe liken this to entrepreneurs or maybe someone that has a business idea or just an idea about doing something. There's just something about acting while an idea is still fresh and hot in your mind and while you're still all excited about it. But the more that you think about it, the more that you give yourself reason to doubt. I think there is never a perfect condition or perfect time to do anything. But the more that you keep, sorry about that, the more that you keep thinking about it and replaying it, the more that you get excuses and the more that you get fear in your head and all that. So the more that you and doing it, or if you do it, the more that going over it, uh, maybe redoing something that you had done that was maybe even perfect and doing something not okay. So to me, it's talking about doing something. Of course, you think about it, but not just thinking about it to the extent that you start talking yourself out of doing that thing, Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Is that Esther?
Yes, it is.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for what you just shared. We have a comment from Coach Nana, the Discover Coach. She actually says hello and says, "How do we speak?" So, Coach Nana, the link to join the studio is actually at the Practical Table platform on WhatsApp, and I've also forwarded it to to your inbox. So you can just click on it and you'll be able to come into the studio. And then for those that are just watching us from the Facebook platform and YouTube, you can still go ahead and share your comment by just typing it in the comment section. So Esther, thank you. That was so powerful. Guys, is there anybody else that wants to, share their opinion or their thought to that quote right there?
I think I would agree with Esther with what she said. You overthink something. At the end of it, you start doubting. Can I really make it? Can I really manage this? And at the end of it, you don't do it. Something so simple, and if you started it slowly,
Mm.
it could amount to something big. But now, because you're thinking, oh, there are so many people who are doing this. Oh, but how will I penetrate this business when there's so many people doing it? At the end of the day, you scare away and don't do anything.
That's true. That's
Mm.
that's very, very true. It makes me think about the times when you have an idea, like Esther put it, like you have an idea. You see, the Bible says there is nothing new under the sun. So you'd come up with an idea to you for the first time. It's something that is new to you. And this idea seems so good. But then, because you take so long thinking about it and not going to action about it, you begin to see other people doing it. You begin to see other people doing it because you are aware of that idea. So now, because it has become so conscious, like awareness has been raised in you. Wherever you look, you see it, and because you are seeing it often, it looks so common. You begin to think yourself out of it. You think too for a very, very long time, to a point where you actually like paralyze yourself. You paralyze yourself. Like, I'm thinking, okay, an idea comes, I have to do this, I have to do that. Then I start to think, oh, okay. And in our thinking as human beings, we always tend to think, okay, like, was that Mariam that was talking before me?
Yes,
Yeah, like
yes.
Mariam was thinking. Now you start thinking, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have this. Instead of thinking, okay, this idea has come to me and I've been praying for God to show me a way. And obviously, He's spoken to me through this idea. So let me get going with with this idea. But you start thinking of the things that you don't have. You start making excuses and you talk yourself out. So because you've thought too long, you've made all those excuses, you find that now you just can't do anything.
Coach
You
Inonge,
anything. Hey, Coach Nana.
I was trying my mic. I thought I wasn't being heard. No, I've
Okay,
been trying for the longest of time, but thank God you can hear me now.
okay,
So yeah, you can continue talking. I'll jump in later.
okay. Thank you for joining us, Coach Nana. So
No problem.
I was actually saying what Mariam and Esther, what you guys touched is very essential, in the sense that, we've got to have a sense of agency. Like the way we were saying, ants, they are fast, 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 fast. We also have to have a sense of agency. I mean, you can't think of this idea and wait for all the lines to fall into pleasant places. I guess there is a time to start small. And then, one of the coaches, the languages of a coach is jump and build your wings. So you don't really get to
Mhm.
just be there.
True, true. Um, can I say something?
Sure, Coach Nana, jump in.
Okay. So I had to block my video. My day started. I got home very late today, and I'm looking so shabby. But with that said, with that said, I love this quote because to me the first thing that comes to my head is procrastination.
Mhm.
When you think too long about doing a thing, often becomes its undoing. So to me, the first thing that came to my mind the moment I saw this long message is procrastination.
a lot of times when you think too long, it's like you're just giving yourself the what ifs. You know what I mean? You're
Yes.
the only way. For me, I always believe in every time you come up with an idea. You know, there's a lot of times people laugh at those people that come up with ideas all the time, and they speak about them. No, I'm thinking of doing this. I'm thinking of doing that. It's funny because they are thinking. But imagine every time you thought about an idea and you did it the moment you thought about it. I
Wow.
think procrastinators are usually just scared. I think I had shared a quote to say, I read somewhere that it said when you are procrastinating, it's a sign of self-hate. So
Mm,
it's like you're questioning what the brilliant ideas that you're coming up with. So
mm,
when you start questioning that, the only reason that you're going to take long to think about something is because you're questioning the what ifs. What if it won't work? What if
mm,
I do this? I believe
mm,
every time you think about something, even before you tell anybody, do something about it. you know
mm.
we only know when we do something and if it ends up not working out. Yes, there's research and everything, but it starts with doing. That's when you know that this thing. But the moment you start writing down, a lot of procrastinators want to write down the very detailed information, and they will start finding why anything cannot work and anything can work in life. You can
Mm.
just say, you know what, today I want to do this because, if I go this side, maybe there's going to be traffic, or maybe because by the time I'm getting there, time will finish. I could have had a reason to not show up today at Moments with Inonge because I was very tired. I came in late and, I could have said, you know what, let me just not do it because I was going to give excuses that I'm tired. But, I just walked out of my living room. I said, let me lock myself up and then learn one or two things, because every moment, for me, I believe every moment missed, you tend to miss something.
Mm.
And those are the moments that you undo your plans, because the moment you think of something and you start taking long, you are literally questioning what you've come up with, and that's the undoing process.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Very well said, Coach Nana. We have a comment from Favor and says, we think too much because we are afraid of starting it. So it's better to start than thinking about it for a long time. Well said, Favor.
True.
Absolutely well said. Guys, should we move on to our next quote? We've got like 4 more quotes remaining.
Yeah.
Okay. So our next quote is to do two things at once. To do two things at once is to do neither. Wow. Wow. To do
Focus.
at once. I like that. I like that. First thing
It's
that comes to your mind, focus.
it's focus.
Concentrate.
I'm actually getting I'm actually getting words that pop up when I hear your quotes that you are sharing with us.
Mm,
The first thing, this year one of my goals was to narrow down things in my
mm.
business, in my life. It came down to focus. When you're doing too many things, you are literally failing in all of them. So the
Yeah,
idea is to narrow down and focus on one. When that is accomplished, then you move on to the other. So this quote just tells us to say, when you take up too many things or two things or more, it
mm,
literally is a sign that you are not going to you can't do any of them, because you are trying to win here, you're trying to win there, and it's just too much. So it comes down to focus.
yeah, that's true. Guys, anybody else with a contribution towards this quote? Anything you think about, even if Coach Nana has said it all, or she said what you wanted to say, just voice out.
I think I would agree with Coach Nana to say this coach is talking about focus. There's no way you can do 4 or 5 things at once and come out great in all things. I think when you focus on one, if it's one thing at a time, finish that, finish whatever you're doing, that task at the moment, then you can try the other. Then I'm trying to farm the next moment. I'm trying to do a catering. It will be a bit too much for one person to do. But I think I can say it's all about focus.
Okay. Anybody else?
And also, I would like to add on to what has been said already. If we
Okay,
look at
Chani, go
successful
ahead.
people, if we look at people who are successful, find that they are focused on just one thing. For example, if we say Tiger Woods is only known for golf,
True
we may
that.
also give other examples. You find that people are so focused on one thing. The moment they divide their attention, they fail. So it's better that we focus on one thing and we'll be able to achieve, like many other people have succeeded are doing.
Mm.
Mm.
And you know, the funny thing is, I'm just reminded of a conversation that I actually had. I was in the kitchen and I was preparing a meal, and then I was also talking to Coach Nana. It should be last week or 2 weeks ago. We were actually on the phone talking. We spent a lot of time talking while I was actually cooking, and afterwards I go ahead and tell my brother-in-law. I go ahead and tell my brother-in-law to say, you know what, I think I have actually cooked fast and finished fast because I was on the phone with my friend and we're talking. So he goes like, no, Inonge, you did not finish fast because you were actually also on the phone. Then I said, no, I actually did. Then he said, you know, talking on the phone, you were using some level of energy. Because I quickly said, you know, I actually also noticed that when I'm cleaning the house and I'm listening to music, I do it fast. Then he went ahead and just told me to say, Inonge, no, you're not telling the truth, because when you're listening to music, you are not focusing your energy on the music. It doesn't require you to think. But when you're having a conversation with somebody else, it requires you to think, it requires you to concentrate, so that as they speak, you are listening, and then you can be able to answer back in relation to what they are saying.
I've actually I've actually burnt something when doing that. I've burnt food. I've actually burnt food, and it's true what your brother said. It's literally proven. For me, I know it. When I'm on my phone and I'm concentrating on home stuff, my home things, I'm definitely going to know that I'll be lagging. There's something that's going to suffer. Either I concentrate on my phone or I have to leave my phone for a bit, put it on silent or something, and then concentrate on my cooking or sorting out my boys. Then that will work. Otherwise, you burn food or something like that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So, I just laughed. And after we had that conversation, I was doing a research on time management as we were about to have our practical table. And then there is something that somebody actually told me. And then that person actually said to me to say, Inonge, do you know that one way to focus, or I mean to manage your time, is to concentrate on one assignment and make sure you finish before you move to the next assignment. Believe you me, because if you stop with this assignment, you'll find that maybe where you left it, you have to go a step behind just for you to catch up. So we have a comment from Favor, and Favor actually says it's better to focus on one thing. Like the Bible says, you can't serve two masters at the same time. Favor, we love you. We thank you for your contributions. We thank you because you are really also, adding into this conversation that is going on. I don't know if anybody else in the studio has something to contribute towards this, or we move to the next court. I want everybody to be heard. because everybody has something to say. Do we move?
I guess.
Okay, great. So here's another one, guys. It says, a wise person does at once what a fool does at last. Both do the same thing, only at different times. Ouch. Ouch, ouch. Guys, open the floor. This one is a tough one.
It is, eh?
Yeah,
It needs processing.
I'm telling you.
A wise person does it once. What a fool. Anybody?
Anybody,
It feels
anywhere.
it feels it feels like an exam though. It's getting me to think. I'm trying to process. A wise person does it once.
Oh,
What a fool does at last. Both do the same thing, only at different times.
okay. Christabel, we're able to hear you now. I'm sorry about that. I don't know how you were not added to the screen.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, the quote is the quote is there. This is really food for thought. Time management. Time management. We have two people, right? We've got this wise person, and then
Mm-hmm.
got this foolish person. And then we also have two times. So the wise person does things at once, does whatever that thing is at once. But this other person does this at the end. You know, they both do the same thing, but only time, like time is the only major difference. Wow. So I think my take to this one is, what is the definition of wisdom? One of the definitions to wisdom is doing the right thing at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom is doing the right thing at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking this quote is telling us to say, you know what? If we are wise, we should be able to do things when we need to do them and not, when it's convenient for us to do them. Because when it's
Or at last.
convenient, yeah, or at last, when it's convenient for us to do them, it might not really be the necessary time. Assuming, for instance, we have an exam, right? We have an exam, and this exam is at 10:30. So the exam is today. Today happens to be what date? Today happens to be the 17th. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, today is the 17th. So exam time starts at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And then just because
Mm-hmm.
I know that the exam is on the 17th, I come in and it's for 3 hours. So I come in a few minutes before 13 to write my exam. How? How do I come in last minute? A wise person will come in good time, but a foolish person will come, a few minutes before time. How will they answer all the questions and pass the exam? Guys, that's my take. This one is really
Okay.
food for thought.
I actually have gotten something has clicked here. So when I think of the wise person who does things at once, so for me, when you think about doing things at once, you are sorting out things on time and the specific moment. You're not leaving it for later or last minute. So you see, the foolish man waits for the last minute. And remember what the warning about doing things last minute.
Mhm.
You are taking a risk. Chances are you might not make it. You get it. But
Yeah.
when you focus, it also now comes back to still you have to focus on doing things that you've committed to. If you're
Mm.
committing to doing something, you have to do it at once and finish off, and
Yeah.
you are sorted. And that's the time you commit to the time you commit to that thing, and you dedicate time to it, and you dedicate good time, not last minute. Because
Mm.
you remember when they're saying the foolish man does things at
Last.
at the at last, it means they wait now for things to get out of hand or to get warnings. You get it? I'll
Yeah.
give an example in business. You see, there are times where we uh, we as business owners only want to communicate with clients when the client comes to you and say, how what's the update with my goods? You
Mm.
get it? That's the last minute. Now you want to start explaining, and yet you could have done things orderly. It also gets back to our to-do lists. You get it?
Yeah.
We've learned that our to-do lists, you better off work with the important things and sort them at once, and like wait for the last hour to come in now and start saying, you know what, I didn't do this, what didn't I do? But time has gone. And remember, we are learning about time management. Time is of essence. So if you
Mm.
lose that time, you've really lost it, because sometimes you end up, like I gave an example of a client. If you have to start explaining something that you could have done at once, and it would have carried more weight, and you come and explain because they've approached you, they might not even handle that situation friendly. It might
Yeah.
get you in trouble because you're doing it at last, instead of doing it when you actually had that moment and you would have done everything at once and moved on, sorting out your issues. Time management, it comes back to time management and sorting out things when it's necessary, at the moment it's needed to be sorted out, not at the end of it all.
Something that came to my mind is that song. It should have been by Boys to Men. If it's not Boys to Men, I don't know who sang it, but it was like, you don't miss the water till the well is dry. So if you're
Mhm.
wise and you're noticing that something is going wrong, you better fix it at once, than waiting to the last minute. So anybody with a contribution to this one, or we move to the next one?
Okay, just to add on.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, just to add on, like Coach Nana mentioned, like the wise man really realizes that there is never a right time. So in
Mm.
life, many a times we get to think, when I get a better job, I'll do this. You're thinking there's never that right time. But the only thing that is there's the best time is to do anything now, and take that step towards the goal that you have. Waiting will only make us older, not wiser.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So at this point, guys, anybody wants to say something, or we quickly go into the next quote? We've got two more quotes, and we call it a wrap.
Can I just add something quite short about this quote?
Of course, darling.
Um, yes, I feel like, yeah, what you have said, I think I've understood it more. So I feel it also looks at an example I'd give is marriage. When you're entering marriage, you have lessons at the beginning, counseling to teach you how to live with your husband and your wife at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Then, though a fool now, you enter marriage, you are so excited, no counseling. Then you find you enter into this home, you're fighting, you're all over each other. There's adultery happening. Now you want counseling.
Mm.
So I feel if you did it at the beginning, you lessen the time, the struggle, just the happiness. You're doing it in fulfillment at once, at the beginning,
Yeah.
not doing it
I,
after you've noticed the problems.
I love that. I love that comment. I love that. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing. So we quickly move to our next quote. Is that okay, guys?
That's fine. We can go to the next quote.
Okay. It says, if you want to make good use of your time, you've got to know what's most important and then give it all you've got. Anybody to open with that? So whoever wants to comment can unmute themselves. If you want to make good use of your time, you've got to know what's most important and then give it all you've got. I think for me, before I even say something, who's got anything to say or something to say?
I feel the quote is trying to tell us to say, if you want to make good use of your time, you've got to know what's most important. Yeah, I think if you want the best of yourself, you have
Mm,
to know what is really important.
mm,
If I want to develop myself and I want to go to school, I need to make sure that's what I want to do. And get the best out of my time if I focus on that,
mm.
I think. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mariam. That's a powerful one. Anybody else? Well, for me, when I look at it, I think it's talking about being able to prioritize things. Like, what is the most important thing for me to do now? And if I'm going to do things that are going to add value to me, like Mariam was saying, I should know to say, which one comes first. And the one that comes first is the one that I focus on. I go all throughout. Like for instance, we've been talking about vision at the practical table, and we noticed that vision is something that is big. And for us to be able to accomplish our vision, we have to break it down. So in breaking it down, there are stages. There are certain things that you must do now, and there are certain things that you must do later. So if you want to fulfill your vision, if you want to like fulfill your vision, you have to see, okay, what is the most important step at this time, which one is the most critical, which one is the most important of all times, and you really really go to it. You literally just get to it. I think that's my take. Do we have any other contribution in regards to what I've said? Maybe something, a thought just crossed your mind as I was talking about the court. Coach Nana actually just fell off. She says her Wi-Fi is down, but however, she's still trying to log on. Okay, Coach Nana, that's okay. We understand. If you can get back to the studio would be good. So guys, do I move to the next court? Have we exhausted this one?
I can just add on to what you've said, and
Okay.
I don't know if it's Marianne or Esther. So when you are doing something and you want the best out of it, definitely you'll put in more effort to that
Mm,
particular. yes, you really concentrate to it. You give it the best actually.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that is very much important to you. You really give it the best. I can give an example. Let's say no one wants to fail at school.
Mm.
So when it's exam time, every person puts in an effort because they
Mm.
all want to pass. They're aiming to pass. So there's that extra effort that somebody gets to put in because they know this is very important. If I don't get to achieve this, I'll not proceed to another level.
Mm.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I concur with you. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. So can we move to our last and final quote, guys?
Yes.
Okay. So our last and final quote is take care of the minutes and the hours will take care of themselves. Take care of the minutes and the hours will take care of themselves. Food for thought. What do we think about that quote, guys? Those that are trying to watch, those that are watching us via YouTube, you can as well as go ahead and do that. And we have Coach Nana back into the studios. Welcome back.
What what did I miss? I don't know what I pressed, and the network just started tripping. Wi-Fi issues. But I'm back, so we
Okay.
can continue on where I'm catching up from.
Where you're actually catching on from is a quote that says, "Take care of the minutes, and the hours will take care of themselves."
Hmm, interesting.
Absolutely.
Take
What
care of
are
the
you thinking,
minutes.
guys? This is our last quote in this motivational segment on time management. Please do share your opinions and your thoughts with me concerning this quote.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm. I think, it takes us back to, every minute counts, like what you do when your time is clicking. Because
Mm,
most of the time you know, it only takes so much. It has to take clarity in your life to start understanding what you're doing with your time. So
mm,
you see, every time the clock is ticking, it matters what you have set for that specific time. So you see, hours are longer, if you
mm.
get my point. If you look
Yes.
at our hours, if you say I'll be I'll finish doing this in the next hour, it's longer and it gives us a bit of a relaxing moment. So
Mm,
when you think of minutes, if you start working with minutes, you are literally working with the right time. Do you
mm.
understand? So
Yes.
you see, minutes does not give us time. But if you work with hours, hours are bigger and they might give us the relaxing moment to say, you know what, I have an hour to go, and chances are I'm going to sort out this thing that I'm looking to sort out. But if you think of anything that you have to do in terms of minutes, you
Mm,
start finding that you are doing things in good time, and you're sorting out and ticking out things. But if we start looking at time in hours, then we are really getting relaxed with our time and we are not focusing on what we have to do. But minutes will keep us on our toes. And if we start working with minutes, we are literally giving ourselves. Remember one of the quotes that I found, I don't think it was the first quote, but I jumped in when you were speaking about how you take, how the process, if you take a longer period, to do something, you are going to lose out. It's undone. It's like, if you think about something for the longest of time, it's going to be undone. So
Mm,
if we're looking at time and we're dealing with minutes, if we do things in the minutes, in the first few minutes,
mhm,
chances are we're going to be sorted even in the hours. But if we give ourselves in hours, chances are we are now giving ourselves time to not win at all. So
mm,
if we start saying, you know what, at this moment I have to do it, not
mm.
in the next hour, but if you do it in the few minutes that you have, whatever that comes in the hour, you are already cleared of what you have to do. So your time is already sorted, you've sorted yourself out, but hours give us a relaxing moment. That's how I look at this quote.
Great, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing, Coach Nana. We have a comment from Esther, and Esther says, "This is my opinion. What it means is that planning the minute details, planning the minute details, breaking a task into smaller ones, and before we know it, the huge mountain of the task is done." Wow, I like that.
That's powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely powerful. And it just marries with what you guys are saying, what you've said, Coach Nana, and what Esther is saying. It just marries. It just tells us to say, you know what, be careful to take also care, of the things that add up. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. Take care of one and then add the other for you to get two.
In bits, yeah. So you have to
Yeah.
do it. You have to break down your time, your things. The big things can be done in bits, but they can add up to a bigger thing. This is
Yeah.
very, Esther, this is very amazing. You have actually looked at it on a different side, and you
Mm.
know what? It's actually, it's making sense, because
A
most of
lot
the
of them.
time we look at the bigger picture.
Mm.
So the hours are the bigger picture,
Yeah.
where you're saying, you know what, I'll do everything in the next hour. And yet you can
Mm.
start in bits. Those are the minutes where you start, like you've said, the one, to add
Mhm.
to add it up to get to two, you need to add another one. So if we're looking at this in terms of minutes, you are saying, let me get this small piece and put it to the next piece, and it will be a bigger piece. Before you know it, by the time it's an hour, you've already gotten a bigger piece sorted out.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Wow, what a remarkable way to, just end this motivational segment on time management. That comment from Esther is just so, so wonderful. At this point, I would just ask if there is anybody else that wants to say anything concerning this in the studio, and then we can just close up this segment.
I hear somebody wants to comment something.
Okay, sure, sure. Christabel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, would you want to say anything?
Uh, okay, from all the quotes that we've looked at,
Mm,
I would say it's actually leading us back to what we did, the goal setting. Though for the time management, I didn't attend the session,
okay.
and I'm yet to catch up. I didn't really go through, but it
Mm,
has really taken me back. Like everything just talks about time and taking a step. I'm
yeah.
connecting the two. Yes. So
Mm,
you think of something, you don't just think of it. It can even be something that is very small. They
mm,
say better of doing an imperfection
mm-hmm.
than thinking of something that you can do it perfect without it being done.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. So better you start up something in as much as it won't be done in a perfect way, but you've already started it. As
Mm,
time goes by, be able to perfect it. And like I
that's
think of an idea, then I'm trying to perfect the idea in my head before I can even act on it.
mm.
It doesn't
Before you figure out step one so well and you
yeah.
act on step one, you want to go to step five. You want
Yes,
to step five is
exactly.
going to be like, oh my God, oh my God. Coach Nana, do you have anything just to wrap up anything to say about
Um,
time management?
Okay. Thanks so much for this segment. Though I missed a number of quotes due to yeah, time management, but it was awesome for me. I think it's when you speak of time management, it all comes back to understanding what you have to do at what specific time. It
Mm,
also comes back to goal setting, just like is it Christabel?
yeah.
Christabel mentions,
Mm,
it ties up because sometimes if you don't have goals, if you haven't found yourself, you have not discovered yourself, you
mm,
literally are going to not understand what time management is. It takes
that's
us back to the first segment, the first a month of the practical table when we did personal development.
mm,
Before you start tackling time, you need to understand who you are as a person, because
mm,
sometimes you will not understand time if you don't understand how to use it.
mm.
Do you get the point? So
Yes.
sometimes you see that you find that everything that you are planning is not working with your time. You are literally a bit relaxed, on the relaxed side, to work with your time. You're not realizing, it's like the moment if you set a goal and it's not you're not looking at it with a time frame,
Mm,
it's not going to be achieved. You get it? So
yeah.
time and goal setting, and you as yourself, as you develop yourself, you need to understand that all these things are tied together.
Mm,
You cannot have work with time if you are not a visionary person. You don't have a vision. You don't have what you're working towards. So you need to start with yourself. You need to understand what the importance of time is, because if you don't understand that now, at one point you're going to realize that you've spent half of your lifetime just wandering around and time has gone, and you start asking yourself to say, how come I got here? There are times where we sit down and we start realizing that, to say, I was this at this time, I could have done this, I could have sorted out this, what I know now, I should have known then, things
mm,
like that. All those
mm,
things that we say to ourselves, it's all because of time. If we
that's true.
understood those things at that point, we would have used that time at that moment to
Mm,
grow ourselves and get better and be a better person now. You know
mm,
what I mean? So
yeah.
it all ties up. So we need to understand that time does not wait for anybody. Growth happens each and every minute that passes. Just like Esther said, it's building blocks. You
Mm,
cannot achieve a goal today. You set a goal and you say, tomorrow I'm achieving this goal. It's not possible. So you have to build your blocks. It's time, and those building blocks work with time. You cannot say, I will sort out my goal and forget about it. You need to set your timeline. What
that's true.
timeline are you working with? And
Mm,
what building blocks are you adding to get what timeline? What building blocks are you adding together to achieve that goal? Is it going to be end of December that you're expecting to sort out that goal? If it skips end of December, yes, we know that there's challenges, but if you're not beating yourself up, you're not going to work with time. And before you know it, you're going to find that you are a 50-year-old person and you're asking yourself, where has time gone? Because you really didn't understand how to manage your time, how to work your goals with time. Because setting goals does not work alone, it has to work with your time, it has to work with timing. If you
Yeah,
don't put time to your goals, they're going to take 5 years, and yet it's a 1 year goal, 6 months, 6 months goal. So that's how
absolutely.
I look at this. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Coach Nyana, for that conclusion. We have a comment from Cecilia, and Cecilia says, "I would like to comment on the second quote. I think it takes me back to personal development, the wheel of life in particular." So what Cecilia is simply trying to say in a nutshell is, at the practical table, we did the wheel of life, which makes you actually look at all angles of your life, and you begin to discover what you ought to to pursue, rather than just being busy here and there. So Cecilia, thank you so much. She goes ahead and drops another comment and says, you may be busy with a lot of things at the same time, mostly doing everything at once, with some time, which sometimes makes you achieve none. So, Cecilia, thank you for jumping right into today's motivational segment. I just want to thank everybody that dropped their comments and also came into the studio. We have Nana, the Discover Coach. We have Christabel. We've got Esther. We've got Mariam. We've got Chani. I just want to say a big thank you unto you. We've got Favour and we've got Cecilia who dropped their comments, as well as Precious. I just want to say a big thank you to you guys for making Moments with Inonge what it is. Remember to manage your time, because your time is your life. If a king could pray to God and say, Lord, teach me how to number my days, that means that life is really something that we should actually take with importance. Time is our life. When our life stops, our time stops. So time is equal to life. So you and I have to manage our time effectively. Guys, thank you so much. It's been wonderful having you in this live segment. I love you and I appreciate you. And thank you for making Moments with Inonge what it is.
Good night. It
Good
was
night.
amazing.
Good night. Good night, guys. Good night. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you